So to copy and paste everything, I have to do two asterisk. So I go to configure, that is inside our job, apply and save the changes. Scroll down here and try to build again. So the build now succeed. If we try now to check, so all the folders and the file are here. Nice. So what's the next step now? Is instead of using Jenkins alone, we are going to integrate it with code pipeline. So what is the next thing that we are going to do is try to give a Jenkins a role, right, that has the permission of integration to code pipeline, because Jenkins must be has to retrieve the source files from code pipeline projects instead of Git, right? So for that, you have to go to the Jenkins instance and try to assign it a role. So to create a role, I will go to IAM service, create a role, then assign permission to that role, then attach that role to our Jenkins server, means our Jenkins EC2 instance. So go to roles and then create a role. So common use case will be our EC2 instance, because we are assigned this role to our EC2 instance. If we are assigned this role to another service, you have to specify that service. And here we have to check AWS custom, sorry, custom. So AWS code pipeline custom action access. Then next review, and then call it Jenkins access, and then create that role. Come back here to our instance, then click on action. In security, I will modify the IAM role. So if I come here and look for Jenkins, then this is our role we have created. And now I will come back here. I have only one project, only one job, and this job, if you want to see it in Jenkins server, you just need to go enter to the var /lib /jenkins /workspace and list the workspace that we have. It is published over SSH, the same name that we have here, and you can get in that. And if you list, this is the same files and folders that we have on our GitHub repository. So now I will create new item, freestyle, but this time I will call it AWS code pipeline, and then okay, scroll down here and choose AWS code pipeline. And what is the region that you are using is the North Virginia region. Let's scroll down here, and here the credentials, as long as we have an EC2 instance that run Jenkins in the same, or for example, if we are running, for example, Jenkins in DigitalOcean, for example, right? And we have an instance in DigitalOcean or on Azure or on Google, right? And that instance has a public IP address, right? And you want to integrate that Jenkins server that is in your, let me draw you that here. Right? And for example, you have a server in Jenkins in Azure or whatever cloud provider that you like, and you have your code pipeline in North in AWS code AWS code code pipeline, right? And your Jenkins has a public IP address, of course, it must be, right? Then you want this Jenkins server to be able to retrieve the credentials from your code pipeline. So to allow that, you have to give it a permission. And to give it a permission, you must create a user, right? Then, for example, create a user and we call it Jenkins. For example, call it Jenkins. And then this user give it these credentials. Right? And then permissions. And here we will attach an existing policies. And here we come here to custom AWS code pipeline custom action access. Give it a tag, review, create, and you have created our Jenkins, right? Then you will go to that instance that you ran in on Azure, right? And install the AWS client software, so you can be able to interact with your AWS. Then you type AWS configure, right? And then you can paste this credential, that's the access key and the secret access key. Then hit enter and go with the default credential, right? But as long as that we are running an instance that as long as we are running Jenkins on an EC2 instance that is in AWS, so it's enough to create a role and assign it to that EC2 instance. But once we are using another instance that is not belonging to AWS, we use credentials instead, right? So once you create, you like to use a service inside AWS, you need only to use roles. But once you are using services that is outside AWS and you want to interact with services inside AWS, we use what we call users and groups, and you create these credentials, and this user has the permission of AWS custom code pipeline access, right? I hope that is clear. So now let me come back here, and then this credential you have here, you can enter them here, right? And for the category, you choose build, and for Jenkins provider, I will call it Jenkins, and then scroll down here, and here this is the